what is the current real estate outlook looking like right now? So I'll give my information and data, and Shirley, by all means, you can give yours as well. So here is a report that was recently sent. So recent data suggests a potential slowdown in Canada's housing market with the rising rates. So what's happening over here is, home sales have fallen. Here it shows it's about 8.6% since May. And then the benchmark home prices have also dropped by about 0.8%, but we're talking as across Canada. So every area is going to be very, very different. So it looks over here that, Vancouver, Toronto, the two largest real estate markets in Canada, the average home fell by about 3.1% in Toronto and 1.7% here in Vancouver. And the number of units sold also fell in both markets. So that doesn't mean, the one thing I kind of want to describe here, the sky is not falling.
Yeah.
But for Vancouver and Toronto markets, when we're going 300 kilometers an hour, and we suddenly slow down to 100 kilometers an hour, people suddenly think, oh my goodness, it's
good point.
It's a crazy thing. All we're doing is slowing down. And remember, our housing prices just went up so quickly, so fast. So for it to go down by a 1.7% when we went up by 18% last year, like the sky is not falling, we're just slowing down. And then it's a dangerous game for people who are saying, oh, well, why don't I hold off on buying real estate then? Because it's going to be super, super cheap next year. You could be right and you could be wrong. And I'm going to share a personal experience. And this is what happened in 2008. For those of you who remember 2008, our housing took the first drop it had taken since I think 2000, since the 90s.
A long time, yeah.
So since about 01, since about 2000, around 2000, it was kind of flat, going up very, very small. Then 02, 03 came along and it started to go up quite quickly. And then it rocketed right to 08 in housing prices that we had never seen go up that quickly, that fast. And they said, it's unsustainable. There's a bubble. It's going to pop. And then in 08, it dipped down. The reason why I said it dipped down is because everybody thought this is it. This is the crash. We've gone up, 7 straight years. This is impossible. And when that happened, I was like, this is the best time to sell our townhouse and to buy a house.
You're buying up.
You want to buy up. And then right away, I'm like, there are places there were places that literally were down like 100 grand, like from a percentage perspective, it was down like 10%, 12%, 15%. But the problem was there was nothing good to buy. And suddenly, so if you're like, hey, I'm going to wait, here's a townhouse that I really, really like, but it's going to be cheaper in 6 months from now. Okay, so why don't I just wait? This is what might happen in 6 months. In 6 months from now, every single person who's selling might take a look and say, I was trying to sell my townhouse for 900. Market value is now 830. I'm not selling for that, so I'm pulling it off. So now you've got all these guys who are like, man, the prices are fantastic. The prices are fantastic, but they can't find what they want. And that's exactly what happened to me. I could not find a home. I had cash in hand. I had sold my place at a 12% loss, or 12% down from its peak. I didn't lose.
I was going to say, I didn't think you lost.
No, but it was just down from its peak. So I had cash in hand, I had the mortgage approval in hand, and I could not find anything to buy.
I have a lot of clients like that.
And I was renting. And then, if you remember 2008, the market started to go back up.
Yeah.
And it was starting to go back up. And all of a sudden, like, uh-oh, prices are going back up. Uh-oh, prices are going back up. And it was lit. Then all of a sudden I got caught in the frenzy. And the frenzy was prices are going back up. So all these guys started to list their place again. And when they started to list their place, all this demand. And then I was suddenly competing and had
Yeah.
to do the overbidding and I
Yeah.
had to do the no inspection and I had to do all that. So now the reason why I say that is because trying to time a market is a dangerous thing. So my advice has always been for clients, if you're ready to buy and you've got your ducks in a row, your pre-approval, your down payment in a row, don't try to time the market. It's hard enough to find a place that you like, let alone to find a place that you like in the ideal conditions of a market, which is, low prices. I would say run the numbers with an advisor and see, does this make sense? And
Yep.
if it ticks a lot of the boxes, I always have encouraged people to buy. And even I'll take the number 2018. In 2018, if you bought a home and if you followed the Christian diet, you told me not to time it, Christian, and I bought in 2018. In 2019, your home was worth less because the market
Yeah,
had
but
gone down.
yeah. Yeah.
So then if you say, Christian, you said to not try to time it, and I suspected it was going to go down, and it did go down, so you were wrong. I was not wrong because I always tell my clients, don't try to sell, don't try to buy a place with the speculation of selling in the short term. We're talking about your own home here, not an investment
Yeah.
property. So we have at least a 5-year time frame. 2018 went down, 2019 still down, 2020, 2021 back up, 2022 back up viciously.
Yeah.
And so they didn't lose a penny. They absolutely didn't lose a penny. So even in our worst climate, if you have a 5-year time frame, you're still going to be okay. So please don't try to time the market, but work with someone to make sure you're not buying too much or you're overextending.
Yeah. Yeah. Good
Yeah.
point, Christian.
Yeah.
Very good point.
So the data that I'd like to share is based off of the last report I've gotten. Of course, every single time I get data, it's about a month. It's about a month wrong. So when I say June, that's because I received my data from May. Sorry, when I say
Yeah.
July,
June. Yeah.
when I say July, it's because I've received my data from June. But right now, the benchmark was last time we checked was at about 1.261 for here in Vancouver, and it was about a 15% increase over last year, but it was an actual decrease month over month. Now, I'm going to assume that this decrease has occurred again now that we're inside July. But to give you an idea of which direction should housing prices be going, then we rely on something called sales to active listings. And sales to active listings shows that when sales to active listings is below a 12%, then we're essentially like in a going down market. But when it's above 20%, then prices tend to be trending up. When you're inside that middle piece, you tend to be in a balanced market. If we look at our aggressive numbers from 2021 to 2022, what we notice is that we have been clearly above the 20% mark. Now, the sales to active listing ratio, the last one that I received was the one from the May report. And we noticed that like for detached homes, we are now below at 20%. We're at 18.3.
Yeah.
Now, if I was to have the data, the real data for this month right now, I'm going to predict that it's even lower. So now I find that we're getting a little bit more into a balanced market, which isn't a bad thing. I wouldn't say we're that below that 12%, because when we're below that 12%, that means prices are, our market is essentially going down. I would say our market is just slowing down. Our market is just slowing down. And when it's slowing down, when people, this is probably a nice way to think of it. When you look at a house and you say, that house sold for 1.9 million. My neighbor sold for 1.9 million. And the year prior in 2021, his house was worth 1.7 million. So he was worth a 1.7, and in 1 year, suddenly he's worth a 1.9, and he sold. He happened to sell at the peak. And now you're taking a look and you're looking at another home and it's for 1.8 million. Same block, similar home. And now you're thinking, okay, our price is dropping. I guess it depends on your frame. When are you comparing it to? Are you comparing it to its peak, or are you comparing it to 2021? If you're comparing it to 2021, when that home was worth 1.7, now it's 1.8, or are you comparing it to 2022, earlier in the year when it was at its peak at 1.9 and now it's 1.8? So I find that it's a hard game to play. You really want to look at more of the affordability, but I do know that the market is slowing down, and it's number one, probably triggered because of the rising interest rates. But at the same time, we went up so quickly, so fast, we're just slowing down. I wouldn't say the sky is falling, but the real estate market tends to react that way when guys think, my house was worth 2.2 and now it's only worth 2 million. If I tried to sell it, I've lost $200,000. You didn't lose anything. It's like a stock, you never had it. It was valued at 2.2. You didn't sell, you held on to it. Now it's valued at 2 million, and that's the market value if you were to sell today. So I think people, they panic a little bit too much, and they kind of need an advisor to help to advise them whether something is a good deal or not. And they
Yeah.
need a good mortgage advisor to help them to realize, which the best way to finance it.
I think you've just hit the nail on the head in terms of the fact that definitely the market is not, the sky isn't falling, but two, yes, leaning on some of the experts. And like for me, as an example, personally, I just don't make any decisions about investments, and I really don't manage it. I do the mortgages in and out. My husband leaves the mortgage workings to me, and he shows up to sign. Doesn't mean he's oblivious to it and he doesn't ask any questions. He still learns a lot. But to your point, leaning on the expert is an important part to make a decision, an informed decision.
Hi, I hope you got some great information from this last session. Did you know that we give complimentary financial advice on insurance, investments, and real estate planning while in medical or dental school or after graduation? We also give complimentary tax planning and filing during residency. If you'd like to set up a time, give us a call. You have more to gain than you think.